Okay, try two with the babies here. Got Pixie right here and Taco, come say hi. And Taco is just right here. They're just, oh, hey, hi, you two. Welcome back to the DIY Creative. It has been a minute, hasn't it? But I'm not saying I'm back. I'm just saying I had something to say, which is what I kind of was saying toward the end there, is that I'm not gonna just produce to produce. I'm gonna produce when I have something to say. So this is about being an artist. And making the distinction and being honest with yourself. Are you an artist or are you a business person? Distinction being, you can be an artist that sells your work and makes money from it. Or you can be a business person who produces something artistic to make money. Small shift, minor distinction, big benefits in the brain though if you can come to terms with which one you are. And the reason is because then you won't be going across purposes. So I'm lucky in that I get to do art for my day job. I work at a museum, I'm the composer there. I do music, I do soundscapes, I do all the sounds in a museum, I do voiceovers, I record others for voiceover. I do audio for the museum, which involves a lot of creative work. I'm also a solo artist. I have Senator Jez, my biggest act, and I have some solid fans around the world. Enough to make a business? No, it's a very small fan base, but they like my stuff and I appreciate every one of them. So I can do music as a hobby, as an artist, and I still have a few fans, but I'm not paying my bills that way. Also, Souls Leak Liquid Silver, smaller fan base, obviously way more niche because I'm talking about noise music. Yeah. But they're there, and I get to let my art out to the world as an artist. If tomorrow everything changed and somebody found my art and it started making money, great. But I make art to make art. I do my day job, which is art also, to pay the bills. And the reason I bring this up is when I lived in England, my wife worked on the economy. She had a work visa. I had to find other ways of making income. So I sold art, paintings, and I was one of the first professional podcasters with Mevio. In 2005, I got signed to Mevio. That was from 2005 to 2010. Now, I was making art. It wasn't the greatest art, but it would sell. I wasn't being very artistic about it. After it started selling and I realized this is how I'm making my money, I kind of formaically kept doing the same thing over and over again that would sell rather than what I really wanted to paint. The podcasting was different. I could do whatever I wanted at podcasting. And as long as I didn't step over any unseen boundaries or rules, I got paid. So I could just do my thing. That was actually artistic. So fast forward today. I do music as a hobby. My solo stuff is a hobby. I work at the museum to pay my bills. And I'm about to start getting into the ACEOs, which is little trading card size, 2.5 by 3.5 inch artwork. And a lot of people are putting those on eBay right now and selling them as collectibles and things like that. Now I'm about to start doing that. Now, some people are online complaining about these ACEOs because everybody's putting them on eBay. The prices have come down if they sell at all. And I get that if you were doing it as a business, and that would suck. And you've got to come up with some strategies to take things to another level. However, I'm going to be doing it as an artist, which means I'm going to be painting these, painting what I want on these. And am I going to do anything with them? Of course, I'm going to put them on eBay like everybody else. If people find them and they sell, great. If not, I've still done my art. Art to me is therapy. It's exposition in my life. If I were to go at this as a business, I would have to look at things completely different. And maybe there wouldn't be a whole lot of art attached to it. It'd be research. What is selling? How is it selling? How do I get into that niche that is selling? I don't want to do that. I'm old. I'm 57. I've got a job where I can work in the arts. I have solo art career or solo music career. I don't want to have to start getting into this researching keywords, blah, blah. I'm even using terms now that probably were or haven't been relative in 10 years because that's the last time I did any kind of real marketing with my art. Things have changed. The landscape, it's water. It's not asphalt, it's water. You'll never cross the same track again if you boat race. That's what a friend of mine who did boat racing said. The thing about water is you're on the same track, but you never hit the same piece of track again, unlike if you were on asphalt. Does it matter that you want to be an artist or a business person? No. It's just in the approach and what you do and what makes you happy inside. If you're approaching this as a business, the happiness will come from your sales and you can more automate everything else or not be as precious with the art because the end goal is to make money. If you're an artist, however, you can sell your stuff and maybe even build a business out of it. But if you're doing it for the art, do what makes you feel good inside and understand why you're doing it. And don't let people pressure you and say, well, you need to be doing this. No, do you. When you're doing it as an artist and maybe if you're lucky you sell, well, that's a cherry on top because you're doing it for the art. For whatever reason you have to make art. If you're doing it for a business, just be honest and do it for a business. And not saying you can't make great art for the business. That's the thing. There's such a tiny little difference in the two sides. But the difference is in that tiny detail. So, hey, get out there and make stuff for whatever reason. Just do, make, be. Cheers. Y'all have a wonderful day now. This is Aben, out DIY Creative Podcast.